to develop as a hypnotherapist, but also how to develop in any area of life. And that is, I recorded a video a few weeks back about the most important thing that I recommend for being a successful hypnotherapist. So do go and watch that video about using astonishment if you've not seen it. It's just a couple of videos back. But today I'm talking about something else that I think all hypnotherapists need to know and to be able to apply in order to be successful. It's very sober and it's akin to grit. First, let me explain how this video came about. So I've been back training for an ultra running event later on this year. I'm involved in a project raising money for my children's school. Anyway, on one of my runs in the last week, I was competing with the weather that was caused by the tail end of Hurricane Hannah that was causing havoc on the coastline here. In fact, here's a little clip that I recorded while I was out on that run. One of the fun things about training at the beach is that it's completely unprotected from the elements, and on a day-to-day like today where it's absolutely blowing a gale in from the seafront, the sand whipping up against you, and in one direction it feels like you're running on the spot, and in the other direction it feels like someone's nudging you along. Happy days, eh? You may have noticed that the wind nearly pulled my phone out of my hands. I recall running the Silverstone half marathon here in the UK a number of years ago with my brother. A younger, slightly smaller runner ran virtually the entire race 1 to 2 foot behind us, protecting himself from the wind. Now, I don't mind helping out other runners, but you know what? He tried to sprint past us on the final leg, and I really felt more satisfied than when we held him off to prevent him from doing so. Anyhow, so as I was saying, here on the south coast of England, especially along the seafront where I live and run and train and so on, there's little protection from the wind that's generated, that comes in off the sea, especially at this time of year. And it can be really tough to get any kind of sensible time splits while you're training, because as I said in that video, you know, in one direction it feels as if you're running on the spot when the wind's coming up against you, having your energy drained as you're kind of ploughing into the wind. And when you turn around, it's like having someone giving you a little bit of a push along. Though the effort it takes to run into the wind is not equally rewarded by how much of a push you get coming back again. My Garmin watch tells me how fast I've gone, but it doesn't tell anyone that's looking at my stats that there was a 45-mile-an-hour wind on the seafront that particular morning. So if you know it's going to be windy, of course, you think about streamlining yourself if possible in relation to your clothing, and you be prepared to accept the wind. That is, you know, be prepared to ease off the gas and surrender to it if need be, rather than kind of let it drain all your energy by fighting it, which you can do quite dramatically if you're not careful. However, if you really want to nail the wind, then you know, I recommend that people use their minds. You know, you get your psychology to work for you when you're tackling those windy runs, and also recognize that the wind can actually add some major resistance that will benefit you in the long term when you're running at an event that you're trained for example, where the wind is absent. And I often recommend using self-hypnosis, you know, your imagination, your cognitions, to help advance running performance in the wind. You can engage in mental rehearsal or just use self-hypnosis when you're out running, as I describe in my Hypnosis for Running book, and engage your imagination in any one of a number of different ways. You know, you can imagine that you are shaped like a wedge and that you cut through the wind with ease, or that with each step you take, the wind parts in front of each limb as you just glide through the wind. Or you might imagine a larger runner directly in front of you, you know, breaking the wind for you. or that you are, profoundly aerodynamic and streamlined, and you have less and less wind resistance. But you kind of accept the wind is there, and that it may well slow you down, but you don't fight it. You glide through it. You let it energize you instead of it sapping your energy. You imagine that the wind is fueling you and energizing you and helping you feel fitter and stronger. And that's the key, you kind of almost befriend it. And I usually recommend practicing this self-hypnosis process a few times, mentally rehearsing and creating the psychological skill, and then starting to employ the imagination processes and use the cognitions when and if your run turns windy. And you really notice a difference in how your mindset can affect running through wind. But that's not really the point of this video today. I've digressed quite massively there. Because recent months have presented some challenges for me with regards to my training, not just the adverse weather conditions on occasions, but also because I've had a very busy teaching schedule, and I have a range of other excuses, which, to be brutally honest, could have given me the chance to step out of some of the training sessions. But I kept on being inspired enough to get out in the rain, in the winds, and following certain distracting life events to keep pushing and driving myself on. And I do enjoy some of the training, on some of the occasions, but I definitely do not enjoy all of it. A hero of mine, David Goggins, wrote something that I really loved a while back, and he said, on your bad days, when you feel like a tortured soul, that is when you can really, win the battle against yourself, if on your worst days you can pull off your best performances. And that's when your mind truly starts to shift. You win that battle and it will move the mental needle. It's easy to win when life's your best friend, but when it's choking you out is when you truly grow. And he says, sometimes there's no light at the end of the tunnel, but you still have to go into it. There may be no light at the end, but there is a better you. And that's the key. And he suggests that you therefore start conditioning your mind to walk in the darkness. He says, trust me, the more you walk in the darkness, the better your eyes adjust to it, and so on. And I love that idea. And I bear it in mind when I'm stepping out into the darkness in the mornings, when it's pouring with rain and there are these crazy winds and you're feeling tired, whereby, if, for example, one of my kids has been up sick in the night, or they've been playing up or something like that. And those runs, they're not necessarily the fun runs. Your legs are heavy, your mind is distracted. But hard miles are those that get you across the line in ultra marathons. I posted a picture on my Instagram account whereby my squint and the flag in the background that's really strong show that it was raining hard and sideways. There was this kind of gale force sea winds that were making it feel a bit like water torture to keep running in it. It was just kind of relentless. Inspiration's well and good, and external motivation from certain sources is good. But sometimes we just got to grind out the results that we want and just keep on. The title of my favourite ultra running book is Relentless Forward Progress. And then that says it all, really. Sometimes we do not have to convince ourselves that we love running. Instead, we need to convince ourselves that we can take action and win the battle with ourselves. The more we grind it out, the more we suck it up, the more we continue to develop and learn about who and how we are, very often the better. And as David Goggins says, sometimes we have to keep pushing ourselves into the darkness, even when we don't really feel like it, and even when conditions are not perfect, and when there are some circumstances that are making it challenging for us, and that's tough, but it's ultimately very rewarding. And that's where I'm at right now. It's a bit of a slog with some of the runs. It's tough. It's not that enjoyable. But I'm getting the miles done one way or another. And know that I'm going to prevail mentally as a result. And of course, this is what I'm going today. This is not exclusive to running. It's not exclusive to endurance sports. It's true of being effective in business and any other areas of your life. I'd say it helps greatly when you're looking to develop a hypnotherapy business, in particular, and that's the point, because that's what this channel's about in many ways. And as we often tell our clients in our therapy rooms, in our consulting rooms, choose and commit yourself to persevere. Perseverance, it's a combination of habit and mental attitude. Wanting to persist is not enough if it's not coupled with will. Not only does grit require motivation, but volition as well. It takes mental toughness to translate your intentions into actions. And Martin Luther King said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. That's etched on my brain, that particular quote. We have so much comfort in life these days. Our lives are comfortable. Maybe consider practicing some self-denial. Learn to be comfortable with denying yourself certain things in life from time to time. This is classic behavior of many ancient schools of philosophy. It might mean taking short fasts from food, or challenging yourself to stand up at your desk for an hour at a time, or forcing yourself to put your mobile device down while you're watching a film at home, and to engage in it. Experience hunger and craving, or being unsatisfied in some way, or slightly uncomfortable on a regular basis. Take cold showers from time to time, for example. It'll certainly ensure that you're appreciative of what you have when you have it, but it will build your mental strength incredibly. And the idea here, it's not to eliminate your emotions. The idea is to feel and understand your emotions and then react properly. It's delaying self-gratification for something in the future, achieving a goal or accomplishing a task. The idea is to stay alert, keep calm, think clearly, act decisively. In other words, have some self-control, be disciplined, and stay on course. And this is what I mean when I'm talking about grit. No matter what method you choose to develop your mental toughness, you'll be transformed in ways that you never expected. So like the athlete who uses suffering to create higher levels of mental and physical fitness, when it comes to developing your business, build your grit, metaphorically run in the high winds, be real and rely on yourself to develop more success. That's it. Do subscribe to this channel. Go visit my college website for more information on my online classes and courses. I send you my very best wishes. Goodbye for now.